Feeling embarrassed definitely hits harder in another language, especially when you think you're being polite or friendly, but then you suddenly find yourself in an awkward situation, or you come across as rude or even arrogant, and that doesn't feel nice, right? So let me tell you what happened to me the other day. Well, I wasn't really embarrassed, but I was somewhat confused. So my partner is Spanish and we mainly communicate in Spanish. And the other day he asked me to do him a favor, and of course I did. Later he thanked me, and then I said un placer. And he jokingly responded, "Who are you?" My neighbor. And I was like, what did I say now? Just a really polite expression to say, of course, you're welcome. But he told me that that's something that we would use with someone that we don't know well. So it's quite formal in Spanish. Not saying that my pleasure in English is not more formal, but still I wasn't really thinking about that. So this was the expression I heard, I learned, and I just used it without thinking of the register. So then I started thinking about that and reflecting on some other situations where I have witnessed people that have a very high level of English using some expressions that can come and where they can come across as rude or that are just off in English. Okay, so today we are going to talk about four Spanish expressions that don't translate well or that do not work in the same way in English, okay? So if you're interested in this, stick around and let's discuss some better alternatives that are definitely more polite and friendlier, okay? So before that, let me just introduce myself as well. So my name is Alma and I have been teaching English for 10 years. And for the last 6, I have been helping Spanish speakers to feel more confident and more fluent in English. Okay, so let's dive into those. And the first one that we're going to discuss is tranquila and calm down. Okay, so at first glance, you might think they are, just the same expression in two languages. But while tranquila is super friendly, very commonly used to comfort someone, to say there are no problems, etc., in English, calm down can be quite harsh and aggressive, okay? And you can find yourself in that awkward situation when someone can respond like, why are you being so rude, or what's wrong? I definitely suggest that you avoid calm down, and some better, softer, gentler versions would be don't worry, no worries, it's all okay, or take it easy, something like that, okay? The second one that we are going to talk about is dime and tell me. And just a note, in general, in Spanish, imperatives are used in a more flexible way than in English, okay? In English, we have to be more careful. So this is a perfect example where dime works really well when you want to encourage someone to continue sharing something with you or to start sharing, or even if someone calls you on the phone, you could exactly use this expression to respond, dime. And in English, tell me on its own doesn't work in the same way, okay? You can sound quite rude and impatient, and it's a little bit off, as I said. So it's not always that people will not understand you, but we want to avoid that off feeling, just something is not right there. So in English, we need a little tweak to make tell me better, okay? So what can we do? We can say, tell me more about it, if we want to encourage someone to share something, to give us more details. Or if they want to start sharing something, but they're not exactly maybe confident, so you want to help them relax, you can say, you can tell me. So just by adding modal can, we make the expression much better, Or we can say, if we incorporate it in another phrase like, tell me, did you like the movie? In that case, it's not that, aggressive. So the next one we are going to talk about is a little expression that can be tricky in both languages, but in English more than in Spanish, okay? And that is que. Okay, this one I have heard a lot of times from my students, and it's not even very easy to correct, because you don't want to also make person feel bad for saying that, but I know that people say it without knowing the context or register or how this sounds in English. So I think this is a perfect occasion to address this. Please avoid using what if you didn't hear or if you don't understand what someone said. In English, it's quite rude, okay? If you're in a lesson, even if you're very relaxed with your teacher, or if you're in a meeting, even if you know the person well, what doesn't work in the same way as que in Spanish? I don't know why, but que, you can soften it down with a tone in Spanish. Of course, I know that you have some other expressions that are used in other formal situations or with someone who is older than you in Spanish too. But in English, what can never work well, okay? Maybe if you really, really know someone, but even in those situations, pardon, sorry, pardon me, excuse me, work much better than saying what. So please remember this one. I think it's very important. And if you would like to avoid more of these awkward situations, you can book one-on-one sessions with me. I teach conversational classes and business English classes where the accent or the emphasis is on learning functional language that can make you feel more confident, more fluent. If you want to know more details, you can find my email in the description box, so drop me a message and let's chat about these lessons more. And going back to the expressions, the final one for today is espero tu respuesta versus I'm waiting for your response. So what's wrong with this one? In Spanish, of course, you don't use it all the time. It's true. But if you know the person well, you can say it without problems and it doesn't sound pushy or rude. But in English, I'm waiting or I wait for your response can be quite aggressive, pushy. You can even sound bossy, okay, impatient. I would definitely suggest using I'm looking forward to your response or let me know when you can. Again, disclaimer, I know there are more polite and other formal expressions in Spanish too, but espero tu respuesta is not entirely wrong, while in English it doesn't work at all, okay? So, my English squad, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed, and don't forget to write down the alternative and better expressions I mentioned in this video. And thank you for hanging out with me. I definitely plan to post more. And also, I shared my awkward situation in the beginning, so now I'm excited to hear if you have ever had any awkward situations with some expressions in English. Drop them down in the comments. See you!